You are born into a world of giants, and you are no bigger than a chicken. The humid air is thick with the smell of damp earth and rotting leaves. Around you, the nest is a jumble of cracked eggshells and warm dirt, your siblings squirming and chirping. Above, the forest canopy filters the sunlight into streaks of green and gold. But the world outside the nest feels vast and dangerous, and you are too small to face it yet. Your mother looms nearby, her massive body a fortress of muscle and bone. She watches over you with sharp eyes, her nostrils flaring as she scents the air for predators. Occasionally, she turns and snaps her jaws at a curious dromaeosaur or a bold scavenger hoping for a quick meal. You feel safe under her shadow, though you know it won't last forever. The first challenge is hunger. Your belly aches, and your high-pitched calls for food blend with those of your siblings. Your mother brings chunks of meat, and you fight for your share, your tiny teeth already sharp enough to tear at the scraps. It's messy and chaotic, and you're shoved around by your larger siblings, but you learn quickly. You have to. Survival starts with getting just enough to eat. Days turn to weeks, and your legs grow stronger. You venture beyond the nest in cautious steps, testing the ground with your clawed feet. The forest is alive with sounds, chirping insects, rustling leaves, and the distant roars of predators. Every shadow could hide danger. You stick close to your mother, learning by watching her. She shows you how to scent the air for prey, how to recognize the trail of a wounded dinosaur, and how to hide when something larger than her roars in the distance. One day you encounter your first hunt. A small ornithopod, perhaps a juvenile itself, wanders too close to your mother. In a blur of movement, she lunges, her powerful jaws snapping shut around the creature. You feel the ground tremble as she wrestles it down, the air thick with the metallic tang of blood. You stand frozen, both terrified and fascinated. This is what it means to survive. You will have to do it yourself one day. But for now, you watch and learn, the forest pressing close around you, alive and indifferent to your tiny, hungry existence. Months pass, and your small, fragile body grows stronger. Your limbs stretch, your muscles thicken, and your once awkward movements become more confident. You're no longer a helpless hatchling. At half your mother's size, you've started to venture farther into the dense forest, leaving the safety of her shadow. The smells of the world swirl around you. Rich, earthy scents of damp moss, the sharp tang of broken ferns, and the musk of prey. You've been practicing. Stalking lizards through the underbrush, chasing after scurrying mammals, their panicked squeaks punctuating the quiet. At first, you fail often. Your heavy feet snap twigs, your tail crashes into bushes, and your prey escapes. But each mistake teaches you something. You learn to place your feet carefully, to balance your long tail, to stay low and silent. One day, you catch a plump, unsuspecting mammal. The thrill of it, your jaws closing on warm fur, the taste of fresh blood, is unlike anything you've known. You're starting to understand what it means to be a predator. But the forest is not yours alone. Other predators roam these lands, some smaller but cunning, others massive and dangerous. You once crossed paths with a full-grown Giganotosaurus, its massive bulk dwarfing even your mother. You and your siblings froze, hearts pounding, as it let out a bone-shaking roar and stalked past. It didn't see you as a threat, yet. The lessons don't end with hunting. You learn to read the signs of the forest, the faint tracks of a herbivorous dinosaur in the soft mud, the crushed plants where a herd has passed, the low, warning calls of birds signaling danger. The forest speaks, and you're learning its language. Your family grows smaller. One sibling disappears after a nighttime commotion, snatched perhaps by a lurking predator. Another falls ill, their strength fading as they struggle to keep up. You begin to understand the balance of life. There is no fairness, only survival. The day comes when your mother stops feeding you. Her grunts and snaps make it clear, you're on your own. Fear churns in your gut, but there's no time for hesitation. You follow the scent of a lone iguanodont, your claws itching for the chase. You're hungry, determined, and learning every day. The forest doesn't wait for you to grow up. You must become a hunter now, or die trying. You're no longer the clumsy juvenile that once fumbled through the undergrowth. At 30 feet long, your frame is massive, your jaws lined with teeth capable of crushing bone. The forest, once overwhelming, feels smaller now. You've mastered its trails, its rhythms. Prey still runs when they hear your approach, but now, more often than not, they don't run fast enough. Hunger remains a constant companion, driving you forward. Herds of sauropods move through the land like living mountains, their sheer size daunting even to you. But there are other options. You've learned to target the stragglers, the young, the injured. An older iguanodont limping from a bad fall becomes your focus. You stalk it for hours, keeping downwind, waiting for the right moment. When it finally collapses to rest, you strike. The chase is brutal, exhausting, but victorious. As you tear into the warm flesh, you feel a surge of pride. This kill is yours. But the forest is not without challenges. Other Giganotosauruses roam this land, competitors as large and skilled as you. One day, you cross paths with a rival. It's a male, his scarred hide telling stories of battles won and lost. The tension crackles between you and instinct takes over. You roar, a deep guttural sound that shakes the ground. He answers with a roar of his own, stepping closer, testing your resolve. The clash is violent, a whirlwind of snapping jaws and swiping claws. His teeth rake your side and pain flares, but you fight back with equal ferocity, using your bulk to shove him into a tree. Eventually, he retreats, bloody and limping. You're left standing, battered but victorious. This patch of forest is yours now, its resources under your control. The seasons change, and with them come new challenges. The heat of summer dries the rivers, forcing you to travel farther for water. The cold of winter makes prey scarce, and hunger gnaws at your belly once again. You find yourself growing restless, your instincts urging you to seek more than just survival. One day, you catch her scent, another Giganotosaurus, a female, her call echoing through the trees. The urge to find her, to claim a mate, surges within you. Your journey is far from over. The forest stretches endlessly ahead, full of promise, danger, and the unyielding drive to endure. The air is heavy with the scent of her. You follow the trail for days, moving through the dense forest with a singular focus. Each step carries the promise of a future, a chance to leave your mark on this ancient, unforgiving world. When you finally find her, she is majestic, strong, sleek, and every bit your equal. She watches you with wary eyes, her tail swishing as she assesses the stranger who has invaded her territory. You approach, rumbling a call, neither aggressive nor submissive. She doesn't flee, but neither does she immediately accept you. This is a dance, one you must navigate carefully. The courtship takes time. You bring her the remains of a fresh kill, a gesture of strength and provision. You patrol her territory with her, driving off smaller predators and keeping rival males at bay. Gradually, her suspicion gives way to tolerance, and then something more. Together, you form a tenuous bond, a partnership forged in the shared need to survive and thrive. Soon, the forest echoes with the sounds of your growing family. Your offspring hatch from leathery eggs, their tiny chirps filling the air. They are small, fragile reminders of what you once were, and your instinct to protect them burns fiercely. You and your mate take turns guarding the nest, fending off opportunistic predators that seek an easy meal. Each time you see your hatchlings eat, grow, and stumble through their first steps, a rare flicker of satisfaction warms your chest. But the challenges never cease. As your offspring grow, they compete among themselves, fighting for food, space, and dominance. You teach them what you can, how to hunt, how to sense danger, but you know that only the strongest will survive. This is the way of the world. Years pass, and your once powerful body begins to slow. Scars from old battles ache in the cold mornings, and your muscles no longer move as they once did. You watch your offspring, now juveniles, venture farther from the nest, ready to carve their own paths. One day you stand at the edge of the forest, overlooking the land you've claimed, the territory you've defended, the family you've raised. The cycles of life turn on, unstoppable. You are no longer the hunter you once were, but your legacy will remain, echoing in the roars of the next generation. The forest feels different now. The air is colder, the sunlight dimmer as the seasons shift once again. Your body, once a weapon of strength and speed, feels the weight of time. Each step is slower, your breath heavier, but your instincts remain sharp. Hunger, that old, unrelenting companion, still drives you forward. Your territory has grown quieter over the years. Many of your rivals have vanished, and you no longer see your offspring in the shadows of the trees. They've moved on, as you once did, carving out their own destinies. You are alone now, as most hunters are in the end. One morning you catch the scent of a herd of sauropods, enormous creatures you once hunted with ease in your prime. The smell awakens something deep within you, a spark of the predator you've always been. Despite your aching joints and slower pace, you set out after them. The forest parting before you like it has so many times before. When you find the herd, they are massive and slow, their long necks swaying as they tear leaves from the trees. Among them, a juvenile limps, its movements labored. It's an opportunity, one you know you must seize. Your muscles tense as you prepare for the hunt, your focus narrowing. The chase is not what it once was. Your legs burn, your lungs strain, but you push forward, driven by instinct and the memories of countless hunts before. The young sauropod stumbles, its injured leg giving way, and you lunge. Your jaws close around its neck, the thrill of the kill surging through you one last time. As you stand over your prey, the forest seems to quiet around you. The satisfaction of the hunt mingles with exhaustion, a deep weariness that settles into your bones. You eat slowly, savoring the meal, knowing it may be your last. When the sun begins to set, painting the sky in hues of red and gold, you find a place to rest, a familiar hill overlooking your territory. You lower your massive body to the ground, the cool earth pressing against your scales. The forest hums with life around you, a reminder of the cycle you've always been a part of. You close your eyes, your breathing steady. You've hunted, thrived, and left your mark. Now, at last, you let the forest carry on without you. The forest is quiet, bathed in the pale light of dawn. You remain still, lying on the crest of the hill that has watched over your territory for countless seasons. The pain in your body is gone now, replaced by a deep calm. You feel the world moving around you, a living thing, eternal and unbroken. Below, the trees sway gently in the wind, their canopy sheltering the life beneath. A herd of iguanodonts grazes in the distance, unaware of the silent predator that once ruled these lands. Birds flit between branches, their songs filling the cool morning air. This place, your home, pulses with the energy of survival. It always has, and it always will. You have become part of the forest in a different way now. Your body, once a force of unstoppable power, has begun to sink into the earth. The scavengers came first, small, cautious creatures that nipped at the edges of your remains, taking what they could. Over time, larger predators arrived, tearing away pieces of the hunter you once were. This is not defeat. It is life. Your bones, stripped clean, gleam in the dappled sunlight. They will remain here, a monument to your existence until the elements wear them away. The soil, rich and fertile, will take you in, nourishing the plants that feed the herbivores, which in turn will sustain the next generation of predators. Somewhere in the forest, your legacy continues. Perhaps one of your offspring now roams the trails you once walked, their roar echoing through the trees as yours once did. Perhaps they have carved out a territory of their own, faced rivals, and raised their own young. You have passed on your strength, your instincts, your fire. The sun climbs higher, warming the land. A young Giganotosaurus, bold, hungry, and full of life, steps cautiously onto the hilltop. It sniffs the air, catching the faint scent of bone and history. For a moment, it lingers, gazing at the place where you rested. Then, with a flick of its tail, it turns and disappears into the forest, ready to write its own story. The world turns, the cycle continues, and you, mighty hunter, are forever a part of it.